Yo, you already know who it is, the Kid Hustle Man Fest. Right now, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like the interviews, if you like the content, if you want us to interview more of your favorite artists, more of your favorite influencers, more of your favorite reactions, I need you to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel right now. We're on our road to 5K. At 5K, we're giving away something super special. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel right now. Yo, you already know who it is, the Kid Hustle Man Fest. I got a special guest with me right here. Actually, somebody from my city. In this space, I don't get to interview a lot of people from Washington, D.C. The only other comedian I interviewed from Washington, D.C. was Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson,
the
okay.
legendary Tommy Davidson.
Okay.
So you're the second comedian from Washington, D.C. Outside of you, Big G was here.
Oh, you had G up here?
Big
That's
G was
my
here.
cousin, man.
For real?
Yeah.
Big
for
G
sure.
was here. So you're my third guest, me actually being on the radio station here in Baltimore.
How that work for you, man, being a D.C. guy in Baltimore? You know, we got that stigma that we don't get along, man. How they treat you out here in B-more?
First, let me introduce you first, then we can get into that.
All right,
my
bet.
guy, Chico B.
There we go. I mean, I feel like they know who I am, man. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you, big dog.
Nah, for sure.
But yeah, back to that, man. How they treat you out here, Slim?
I never had no issues, really.
That's beautiful.
I went to school, of course, in college, and a lot of people in my fraternity was from Baltimore.
Okay.
Because I went to Frostburg State University, which is deep Maryland.
Okay, Frostburg.
Yeah,
okay.
Frostburg, which is deep Maryland. So a lot of people in my fraternity was in Baltimore. I think that when I was in college, like the stigma of Baltimore and DC not liking each other was starting to like fade.
Yeah, I feel like that's not our generation's problem.
Yeah.
I think that was before us.
I feel like it was like right in the mix of. You're a little older than me though.
Yeah, just not about
I'm
much.
30.
Okay.
So it was like right in the mix of it, but that's when like Shy Glizzy and Scooter
Got together.
came together. So it was like the Bird Flu song kind of was like the anthem to bring both cities, because for no reason I didn't like Baltimore. I didn't know nothing.
But we never knew why. You know what I'm saying?
Never.
And the crazy part is, I think that when you leave your environment, you know, growing up in the city, you know, I'm from uptown, like you from uptown, and growing up in the city, we so, you know, insulated in our communities and especially in D.C. You know what I'm saying? We so insulated that we don't have to go nowhere for nothing. Our city encompasses everything we need. Got our own music, our own way of talking, our own everything. So we never had to leave D.C. for nothing.
Yeah.
And when you come to Baltimore, it's the same way. You know what I mean? They never had to leave Baltimore for nothing. They got everything. They got their own music, their own way of talking and everything here. And it's not until you leave that environment and go other places, go to other cities, other, you know, countries, go around the world, you know, go around the country here, you realize, man, we got a lot more in common than we got, you know, apart. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the only thing I ever came to Baltimore for when I was a kid, before I became an adult, was Baltimore Aquarium.
Nah,
and
I ain't
ESPN
never,
Zone. Did you ever go to ESPN Zone
Nah,
downtown?
I ain't never go to the ESPN Zone. I was coming out here for something totally different. And the Patapsco Flea Market. I used to come out here and hit that junk for sure. But that's, you know, I always, you know, had guys that I dealt with out here that was always good men. So, you know, that's the thing you learn. Good men is good men no matter where they from.
Listen, this episode is sponsored by DPJ Houses. Listen, DPJ Houses is a one-stop shop for anybody looking to sell any property in any condition. I don't care if the property is abandoned. You ain't sitting in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Doesn't matter. DPJ Houses has solutions for you. Also, if you lost a loved one and you inherited a property just because that you were their family member, you live thousands of miles, hundreds of miles away, even if you live in the same state and you just don't want the problems of maintenance in that property, DPJ Houses has solutions for you. If you're behind on your mortgage and you're just looking to get from underneath that mortgage, it's just stressing you out, and you're ready to let go of that mortgage, listen, DPJ Houses is where you need to go. If you're behind on taxes, the water bill is just too high for you, and you just don't know what to do, DPJ Houses is exactly where you need to go, and they'll give you a cash offer. They just need a little bit of information about your property, bedrooms, bathrooms, what you want to do, what your end solution is, how much are you looking for to get out the property. They'll work with whatever you got going on. Again, it's a cash offer, DPJ Houses. If you want to submit any information or if you want to just send them your address for them to look at it and have a conversation with them, call them at 443-526-3369, or you can email them at dpjhouses@gmail.com. That's dpjhouses@gmail.com. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're in the 50 states, if you're not in the 50 states, DPJ Houses is there to help. Again, 443-526-3369, dpjhouses@gmail.com. I never had any intentions of ever coming out here. You know what I'm saying?
All the way.
Outside of the aquarium and the ESPN zone with some field trips and shit like that was downtown, it's not there no more.
That's probably how the Baltimore dudes feel about D.C. Like, we came to the monument and the White House and all that, but we ain't never go for nothing else. So,
but now that I'm out here, though, I have realized that it's just like a mind your business type city. Like, if you ain't into that, don't get into that.
Yeah,
now,
all
if
the
you
way.
get into that, God bless you. You got to make sure you're moving correctly.
All the way.
But outside of that, like
That's
artists treat me well because I always show respect. I was born and raised correctly.
Right.
I always give respect before anything. So I think my first introduction to Baltimore was, like I said, in college was the dance,
the house music.
The Avenue was they call it.
The Avenue. Oh, yeah,
The Avenue dance. And so that was my first introduction to it. And I was like, it's kind of weird. But those niggas was the gangsters. Those niggas
it's no different than to beat your feet in the city. You know what I'm saying?
So I had to respect that, and then from there, it was just a mutual respect. And then,
all the way.
And then I go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do what I need to do. I go to my spots. I go to fuck home. I don't be hanging out on nobody's block.
Oh, yeah, that you shouldn't do that no way, man. You know what I'm saying?
But in the black community, that's what people say you should do.
No, that's not what you shouldn't listen to them people. Whoever told you that, don't listen to them, because I think that when you come from a place like we come from, you got your own experience. You got your own block you can go hang on. Your own people.
Yes.
And you know what I'm saying? And if you ever naturally gravitate towards somebody, make sure you're going out there to do something positive and not just go stand on the block. We did that enough for free growing up every day. That was an everyday occurrence growing up where we grew up at, standing outside and getting into whatever. So once you get past a certain point as a man, you should be going back to these communities and giving back. That's what I always do. I always make sure I touch the people whenever I go to any city I'm in.
Yeah.
The people going to see me, but I'm there to give positivity. I ain't trying to come see what's going on in the hood or going on your block, because I know it's the same thing that was going on mine, and it's still going on mine. And if I want to get into that, I can go home for that.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? It's all positivity.
I never understood that, because, like, for people who grew up in that environment, we know what it is. It's like, it's not cool to us. Matter of fact, I had this conversation, and I didn't even mean to go because we just started.
No, it's all good, man.
I had this conversation a lot. When I tell you I had this conversation a lot, I had this conversation a lot. If I had the choice to pick and choose how I was born and raised, I would choose to be born in Bowie, Maryland, with a nice house, mom and dad, front yard, backyard, and a dog. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't choose to be born in D.C., to be in the hood, to be on food stamps, to see how many people I know murdered, to go to so many funerals, to have to learn this and learn that. I would choose a whole different life. I never understood the glorification of being from the hood. And then I understand the pride. I think that's a different word. Pride and glorification are two different things. I understand the pride of being from it because you came from nothing and then you worked to something. But now that when I'm where I am now, if I could choose, shit, I would skip some of them steps.
I mean, that's the thing you got to understand about the glorification. That's all we left with.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get the option. We don't have too many examples of what it looks like to have that other option that you had.
Yep.
And then those people are usually trying to come to where we at because they don't get the type of gratification that they want to get from being prosperous and having, you know, an abundance of things, or what we look at coming from my environment as abundance, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a thing that where we got to understand that everybody's individual process is their individual process. But growing up where we grew up, I think one of the biggest things for us is to understand that it doesn't, like, the streets and the ghetto are the same everywhere, especially in this country. I've been everywhere. And everywhere I go, it's the same. The script is the same. The characters might be a little different. The way they deliver the lines might be a little different. You know, you got the Avenue and the 2, and then you got the Mother Father where we from.
Yep.
But it's the same script. Everybody's doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So once you realize that we have more in common than we don't have in common, and we all should be striving to get to that, you know, what you just explained, and at least for the next generation, you know what I'm saying, and hang that picture over the balcony where you say, I'm able to live in this nice house and have this yard and have these options because this person was able to overcome this environment and bring us out of it. So that's what we all need to be striving to do.
And I tell the kids and some of my homies too that's still kind of stuck in that environment. But the world beautiful, bro. You get what I'm saying? Like, the ocean's really blue in these places that you go to. The sand really feels good on your feet.
Right.
The woman really love you for your accent. I went to talk to Coolidge. Like I said, I graduated from Coolidge.
Okay.
So I took the DC Defenders, some of the football team, you know, the XFL in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So one of my line brothers plays for the DC Defenders, and they wanted to do some, you know, activation within the community, go to a high school and speak. I said, no, we're not going to no just random high school. We're going to the trenches. We were gonna go to Dunbar. We can go to Coolidge.
Right.
We ended up going to Coolidge, and I was telling them, I was just like, man, when you go to college, man, like you think these women in Coolidge and DC love you. Wait till you get to college, and you meet a girl from Philly that say, damn, I love your accent. Say mo.
Yeah.
And that's really what turns her on.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I feel like that we don't have many people that have experienced life outside of our selective area, outside of the comedians, outside of the rappers, you know what I'm saying? Outside of some of the drug dealers ain't really went too far. But to just go
Ocean City.
You get what I'm saying? To
Atlantic
just go
City,
2.5 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours away from your city, shit, get on a plane and take those 2-3 hour, 5 hour flights. They love you.
Yeah, because it's different. It's the environment that you go. It's like the commonality that we all have, but the differences that make us so entertaining and interesting to each other in other places. Like, that's what makes me love being in the position that I'm in and doing what I do, is because I come from the city of D.C. and I love my city. I am my city. I'm a walking personification of that.
Yeah.
But that's what allows me to go to other places and embrace their culture, because I can identify the same things that you guys are doing. It's just different, but it's the same stuff. And I'm able to intertwine with that in regards to understanding and having knowledge base of why they do the things that they do, because we all the same everywhere.
Yep.
But what makes a person from Memphis interesting to me is the same thing that's going to make a dude from D.C. interesting to a girl from Houston. But you just got to get there.
Yes.
You got to be able to make your move to get there, to be able to see those differences. So I preach that all the time, too.
Do you think that this wasn't even on my list
I mean,
of
it's all
questions.
good. That's how it works when you interview me, Slim, especially when you're from the city. We're going to have a conversation.
Nah, I appreciate that. Do you think that there's something missing, I don't know, like within the youth to understand that? I feel like a lot of these guys, like, they okay with living and dying where they come from.
Yeah.
They not okay with living and going to experience life.
Yeah, because you don't have an option. If you're going to take something away, the thing about dealing with any youngins, because I always hear people complain about the way that the youngins are now, but in my opinion, the environment that we live in now is not worse than the one I grew up in. It's just more access to you being able to see it. And it feels like it's more elevated because you got this phone that is every 15 to 60 seconds constantly updating you with whatever is going on in areas that you don't have anything to do with. And you don't even know if you've never been there. Like, I'm born and raised in D.C. It's still parts of the South Side. You can take me on. I'd be like, Slim, what a metro station at? I don't know where I'm at, because this didn't exist. Now the world has opened up so much for these youngins that it feels like that they got more going on, but they aren't as actively out as we were. Yeah. So now we just have to figure out a way for the youth to, if you're going to tell them don't do something, what are you replacing what they're not? Correct. Well, you got to replace it with something. Yes. You got to give them options. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes me love Marion Barry so much, is the fact that he gave us the summer job option. And as small of a check that was for us when in grand scheme, looking back on it, it saved a lot of our lives from trying to find that money somewhere else. Yeah. He gave us an option. So that's the thing with any youth, whether it be our generation, you can go back to the 50s and the 40s, and it's always been the same stuff going on in poverty. But the one thing that people don't understand is you have to provide options. If you're going to tell me stay out the streets, don't do this, don't do that, okay, and now what? Yeah. What am I going to do now? So I feel like we need to focus more on replacing some of these activities instead of demeaning the youngest for participating in them, because they've been going on forever.
I feel like there ain't no activities in D.C. anymore.
I mean, ain't no activities really nowhere, and it's unfortunate because, you know, you got our generation that they don't go outside no more. Youngers don't be outside. They don't go outside and play and all this type of stuff. Well, I mean, why would I when I got, you know, the world in the palm of my hands? So if you want me to be active in the way that you were active, then provide me with the option to be active like you were active. Yep. Or how about you change your mentality, old man, and figure out how to get with me on what I'm used to and what I like. And I think that's another thing that we have a problem with. We don't want to adjust our mentality to infiltrate what the youngest is going on. I think my daughter helps me with that tremendously because she's 16 years old. So I'm like, whatever you into, baby, teach me so I can understand what's next. I don't ever want to be trapped in what's now or what was. I want to know what's next. And the best way to know what's next is embracing the youngest. And if you embrace them, then you're able to learn them well enough to know exactly what they need. And I think you just need to place yourself in that environment to be able to do that.
I feel like the kids have done so much visibly, like, that people can see now. Like, it used to be, oh, you hear about it. Oh, over the South Side, they did this. Oh, but now you saw it on Instagram, and then they rapped about it. That the OGs or the old heads or the unks or whatever you want to call them, they just rather stay away from them guys. But when I grew up, the OGs and the unks and the uncles and shit like that, they was like, man, nah, you ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't in school, I'm gonna beat you up. They used to beat my body if I was late to school or if they tried to see me skipping school or if I was doing the wrong thing. And then now, because it's so easily accessible to, I want to say personally now, to handguns, switches, Dracos, that it's like, shit, I'm letting them youngers do what they gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable, but that's our fault. You know, that's the older generation's fault. And in each generation, each one teach one. That's a real way of looking at the perspective that you have coming from out of these environments, these inner cities, man. And every generation seems to fail the next generation by not being active in the way that they supposed to, for various reasons. There's so many different aspects that go into why that is, but you can never blame the youth. How is it their fault? They learning, they coming up. You done already went through this process before. So if you don't take the time being an OG to be able to step in and cultivate these youngins into a direction that they need to go in, whether it be, you know, like you said, beating the body or doing all of that, like at some point that fell off. Because, you know, you got so much you got to worry about being yourself as a black man and figuring out how to make it work for you and your family that you ain't got time to be worried about nobody else. And that's what I think we dropped the ball. And then, you know, I think we need to find a way to be able to, you know, not necessarily have a leader, but, you know, people that we respect. Like one of the things that I'm always interested in and I've been working on for a long time is just, you know, we come from a city that got the highest recidivism rate in the country. Like when dudes get out of jail in D.C., they be right back in the feds. They go right back, because they don't have any real viable options that's going to pay them a livable wage when they come home from jail. So for me, these are the people that we need to put back in the community and pay a livable wage to be able to help these youngins, because that's who they going to respect. Because I know you know what you talking about. I know you done been through it. Your name is a name around here, and I'm going to listen to you versus some, you know, community activists that they sent in that just got a degree in sociology and you know, criminology that's going to come in and try to tell me what I need to do. I'm going to listen to this person, but you can't motivate those guys to want to do that and deal with all of what they know they're going to have to deal with, paying them peanuts. So we got to figure out a way to get them a livable wage and a real livable wage and put these dudes back in their communities. And I think that's when we'll start to see a change.
Do you be seeing those viral videos of the guys in jail, like they cooking and?
Yeah.
My thing to those guys, right? Bro, you're cooking on a bed. I don't know how you're doing it. Like, on a metal bed, you're cooking on it. You're charging your phone with a battery. You're tattooing yourself with I don't know.
Ink pen needles and
you get what I'm saying?
Thread, all that. Yeah, very creative, very innovative.
If you took that same information out here, you would be an engineer.
They usually don't work that way, though. That's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? We learn in reverse a lot as black men. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than, I tell dudes all the time, like, especially in the city, you know what I mean? When I talk to the youngins and, man, y'all into it with this person or you, and that's in every city.
Yeah.
That's in every city, here in Baltimore, wherever. You into it in the streets with all these people, all these your ops and all that. As soon as you hit that penitentiary, then y'all gonna be friends. So you might as well, I mean, you can wait. You know what I mean? You can keep doing all this on the streets if you want to. You can, but as soon as you go to that federal penitentiary, ain't none of that. It's wherever you from.
Yeah.
Because now you got a common enemy that's not where you from.
Exactly.
So you might as well make it work now.
Exactly.
Because what you're doing is going to send you to the place where you're going to be forced to make it work.
Yep.
And that's just what it is.
Man, I love this conversation, man. I love it because, I don't get to speak to many people from D.C. I've had, like I said, a couple of people up here, but one of them being Big G, and he has his nonprofit.
Yeah, of course.
Hugs, not
slugs. Yeah, for sure.
And I told him whatever he need.
Without questioning, he's such a big influence just in the city, man. Like, he's a legend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not just in our city, but just a legend across the board to me, because you knew he was the city for our generation, and he made sure that even with getting on the wire and how he did on that, all of that, like, growing up, watching him and seeing the moves that he make and seeing all the things that he overcame, because this ain't somebody who was just taught. He was active. You know what I'm saying? So seeing him do everything that he did and still doing is motivation to me, you know what I'm saying, to keep getting out here and putting on and elevating, because, you know what I'm saying, like, I know this dude. I saw this dude growing up. I saw him in the community. That's why I pride myself on doing these things when I go to these places. I want some young man to remember that he saw me at the barbershop that he went to, or at the soul food restaurant that he went to, or ran up on me at the mall. Like, ain't you Chico? Like, those things count because I remember how much they counted for me, seeing the people that I looked up to in these environments. And it did something to me. Like, I never forget, I seen Scarface walking down Georgia Avenue. I was working at Bluebird Barbershop on Georgia Avenue. Scarface was walking down Georgia Avenue by himself. And it amazed me to see. I'm like, oh, that's Scarface. And he was just walking down the street hollering at people. So for me, those are the experiences that I had with fame prior to me getting it. So that's what shaped my idea of what this is, and that's how I choose to operate within it.
And I told Big G, he was the first famous person I ever met because, to us, DC, if you lead, you might go.
Yeah, you the star.
You the most famous person that we know.
We know, without question.
So when I met him, my mom knew who he was. Like, my mom was uptown, too, as well, growing up. So my mom knew who he was, so she called him Genghis. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's his real name.
That's his real name, but I knew him as Big G because I listened to Backyard. So I told him, man, like, I appreciate him for being who he was. He was humble when I met him. He's humble now. He was humble when I just seen him at Roots Picnic. Yeah. And I appreciate them for that. And I don't know if that's just because of the way he was raised or just because of the DC thing.
Yeah, it's just a DC thing, man. When you come from the environment we come from, man, humbleness is kind of second nature because when you disrespectful, we know what that come with.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And where we come from, it's immediate. And we don't do too much talking when it come to that. And you know what I'm saying? It go up real quick and real fast, and then it'll never stop after that.
Yep.
So you might as well make sure that you lead with respect and lead with kindness and lead with, humbleness to make sure that you know that you didn't do anything to contribute to any negativity coming your way. And if it does come your way, you can deal with it accordingly. But it's hard to deal with it accordingly when you lead being disrespectful because you don't even know that you didn't even give a person an option to show you that side of them. You led with the fuckery, excuse my language. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what you breed. So I think coming from our city, it's very important that we, always had that type of mentality because, we know how quickly things can go left. And you try to avoid that as much as you can, especially when you didn't actually had to deal with it as much as a lot of us have.
I want to take it all the way back to younger Chico Bean.
Okay.
I think the address is 3531.
3531 10th Street, yes, sir.
Monroe Street.
Yeah, 10th and Monroe. Yeah, it was 10th and Monroe.
Tell
yes,
me about
sir.
that, man. See, you ain't know I knew that.
I put it out there. You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't hide it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's the foundation.
Yeah.
That's the foundation. I grew up in a household with all my family, man. We all lived in that one household. I come from out of that era where, your uncle's in the basement, your mama and your cousin, your aunties upstairs in the top room, you know what I mean? You and your brother sharing the bunk bed. That's my reality. And growing up uptown, in that era, I'd always laugh about this, Slim, like how much I moved around so young. Like I was walking to school by myself and walking all the way up Georgia Avenue, going to the barbershop and all that, 9, 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Riding bikes everywhere, 9, 10 years old. So we was everywhere uptown, you know what I'm saying? Like moving around. So it was just the foundation of who I am comes from that area, and growing up in that part of the city and being able to move around and being so young. It's like I used to look at my daughter when she was 10 and be like, there's no way I'm letting you go nowhere by yourself. It was just a different time.
Listen, man, I don't get to talk to people who really grew up in D.C. like this.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way. So I was born in D.C. My mom, initially we lived down Southwest.
Oh, okay. Out Southwest, okay.
So I used to walk to school to Anthony Bourne, down the street, go to school. When I used to go uptown, I used to catch the bus uptown.
By yourself?
By myself.
Yeah.
Then when I got to a certain age, Steve Francis came to my neighborhood, KDP 7th Street, gave away bikes, gave away everybody bikes. Man, we used to ride on bikes from uptown, up 7th Street, all the way down to Hayes Point.
What?
I used to be up Hayes Point.
Man, I'm talking about down the Bowl, all that. Yeah, I mean, man, everywhere. Like, that was the culture.
And now that I'm a father, now I have twins. So my kids turned 7 in August. I'll be
Couldn't
wanting
imagine.
them to go outside.
It's not the same,
but
man.
I don't, because I'd be like, bro, I don't even know where they would go.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
But it's it was a sense of community that still existed back then, and I think that has dwindled drastically since we were, in our youth. You know what I mean? It was a sense of community. It was a sense of, and then, at that time, D.C. was really a black city.
Yeah.
It was chocolate city. It's white chocolate chip city now.
Yeah.
But back then it was really a black city. So there was an element of like I said, each one teach one. Somebody catch you doing something you ain't supposed to doing, and you ain't whoop your ass. You got to answer for that, and it was understood. You know what I mean? But that's why I think we were able to move around the way that we were. But growing up in the city, especially uptown, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a fast moving part of the city. Everything moves so fast, so you kind of engaging in activities that are beyond your years when it comes to what you're navigating. Because I tell people all the time, I never rode a school bus in my life unless we was going on a field trip.
Exactly.
That was it.
Yes.
I rode the regular metro bus. So whatever was going on the bus was what I saw every day.
And if you got on the X2, if you got on the 70,
you know what I'm saying?
It was a wrap. You learned everything.
Everything. You get to see everything that's going on in this city on this bus every day.
Yes.
So this is our reality. So I think that, like I said, you'll never be able to deny it. It's tattooed on me. Like I walk around with it. I'm prideful. Like I'm from the city for real. Like, and I grew up doing all of the things that we did. You know what I'm saying? And embracing all of the things that we did now is, I think, what separates me from a lot of people, because you can tell that it's authentically who I am. Like, I can't escape it. Even if I wanted to try to be somebody else, it'll always find its way to creep up out of me. Oh, man, I know where you from. You know what I'm saying? I can't help it.
Yeah. That's crazy, bro. Like I said, I don't get the experience. I don't get to talk to someone who experienced similar things or the same things that I went through. Like, even just now saying the 70, bro. I rode that 70 up and down 7th Street.
Man,
so I done seen niggas beefing with their girlfriends on the bus. I done seen people beefing on the bus. I can
tell you so many stories off that 70, man. The 70, the X2, because the X2 run right in front of Dunn. So, used to. They changing the bus routes now, man.
They go straight down 8th Street now.
Yeah, they changing the bus routes now. Like, that's the part that I think is the most heartbreaking for me, is going back home and all of the places that I frequented, Whole Foods and Starbucks, and it's gone, know.
So I understand. I agree. But do you think that we need elevation in the city?
For us, if it was for us, without question. But we aren't the ones that get the benefit from it.
Yeah.
We aren't the ones that you see frequenting these places. Like, and I'm all for the development of my city. I'm all for the betterment of any city, but especially mine.
Yeah.
But when you go and you see them building all of these places that we can't afford to live in, and building all these businesses that we know nothing about, then who is it for? Who are you making these renovations for? And when you see the people who start to come into the neighborhoods and the way that they improve the schools and rebuilding and all of that, that wasn't for us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it was just us, or everything was just whatever it was. But now when the others start to come in, it's like, okay, let's spruce it up. So that's the part that's unfortunate for me, because I would be all for it if they, knocked down the border and rebuilt the border for people from the border.
Yeah.
But that's not what's going to happen.
Yes.
They're going to knock down certain quarters, and in the next 5 years, you're going to have white people headed for the border, certain quarters. And it's just like, that's unfortunate for me, because I feel like we should be able to benefit from, all of the renovations, because we had to suffer through the detriment. You know what I'm saying?
Going to be a bunch of townhouses.
Yeah, man.
And things like that.
Oh, my God.
So from Monroe Street, you were Raymond Elementary.
Raymond, yes, sir.
Raymond Elementary. Then you went to school, Dunbar.
Nope, McFarland.
McFarland. See, I knew I missed one.
McFarland Middle School.
McFarland.
Dunbar High School.
Dunbar High School. But you went to the real Dunbar. What years did you go to Dunbar?
I went to Dunbar from 2000 to 2003. Well, 99, 2003.
Okay, so
I graduated 03.
6 years. You was there 6 years before.
Yeah. My little brother graduated, I think, 08.
I wasn't there yet.
Yeah,
I get there 09.
09. Yeah, 08. Yeah, I think it might have been 08. I can't remember, but he went there too.
I was just telling some people about Dunbar because we called it the school without walls. Literally.
No, school without walls is school without walls.
No, it's not the school without walls.
But you got to say that because we got a school without walls in the city. You know what I'm saying?
No, but literally we had
no walls, right?
And then you had the
medians.
You had the dividers. That's what I called them.
The medians. Yeah, I called them the medians all the way. But ain't nowhere like Dunbar, man.
I had a crazy story. I told him, man, I was sitting in class one time before, and I said, man, anything and everything went on Dunbar. I said,
without question.
Dice games was in the back hallway.
Oh, without question.
And I said, security guards knew about it. There's certain people, they just let them, like, man, it's just what they into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
as long
sure.
as you ain't harm nobody.
Yeah.
But I said, the craziest story I ever seen was, we ain't have no walls, so we had the dividers, the medias.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was in class, and a motherfucker threw a book over the top of the joke, hit the teacher.
Okay.
The teacher started crying. One of the youngest in the class chased the dude and beat the dog stuff out of him because they was just like,
why you do that?
Why you do that? Because it could have hit me. That was his thing.
Yeah, but nah, we had, man, Slim. I got so many stories.
Give me one story.
I remember, man, remember we had the escalators.
Yes.
Yeah, the escalators and everything, right? So niggas got the wrecking at the top of the escalators. And, you know what I'm saying, they trying to get away because security coming. Man, my man, I ain't gonna say his name, but you know who you is, man. He reckon he get to, trying to get away from the security guard and fall down the escalator, Slim, and it took him forever to fall because he falling down the up escalator.
Oh shit!
So he falling, but
it's still pushing him up a little bit.
Pushing him up. So he going down, man. We laughed him out so vicious, man. Oh my God, man. That's just. That school, man, like, that's one of the ones. And I know that I'm judgmental in that regard. I have no problem in saying it. But when people say they from the city, man, you ain't go to DCPS, man. You know what I mean? You can really be from there. And you can still, I know people who lived in the city but went to school in Maryland. And they still would come home and be on, but it still ain't the same, Slim, because you get to get away from it for 8 hours a day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When you go to DC public schools, it's 24/7. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a different thing.
So from DC, you go to school in North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Is that where you meet dang, man, Darren? Is that his name?
Yeah, Darren. Yeah.
Is that where you meet him?
No. I met him after college.
Oh, you met him after college.
He went to A&T. I went to Winston-Salem State.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you guys doing comedy during that time when you met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we met, doing comedy. They came to the Comedy Zone and brought a crowd like no other. I mean, they packed it out. And I was doing the open mic nights then.
Yeah.
And they came in and packed it out. Him and Burt came in with a whole bunch of Aggies, and they packed it out. And Dot, who I went to school with, who was another member of the FFCS, which was the comedy group we had, they all came. And we all did sets that night, and everybody did well. And we kind of got together and chopped it up. That was the first time we met, but that was in 08. Yeah, so that was, almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah, it's like 2012?
No, 2008.
Damn, 2008.
That was 8.
2008.
Yeah.
And then from there, you guys doing comedy together, or you guys just doing it and you seeing each other?
We met in 08. 09, we started the Freestyle Funny Comedy Show, and we started doing comedy together in 09 in the Greensboro Comedy Zone and traveling all over doing NACA conventions. I don't know if you know what a NACA is, but NACA is where all the colleges
NAA.
No, don't say that. No, don't stop, nigga.
That's like with a buoy, like all the HBCUs go.
No, nigga, no. You about to say some goofy shit. You about to have your shit viral for the wrong reasons.
No.
Nigga say NAACP.
No.
NACA is where all the colleges send representatives to pick their entertainment for the year.
Okay.
So it's like a convention, and they have them all over the country. So they have different ones, you know what I'm saying? But like when you went to Frostburg State, you would probably be in the Eastern.
It's not HBCU.
I know, but still, it doesn't matter about an HBCU. It's all the colleges in the country.
Okay.
They have different sections, and then they have a national one, which is the big one, but they have them in sections, Midwest, Northeast, Southeast, you know what I mean? All that type of shit. And colleges have a budget every year for entertainment, and they send the representatives from the school to pick who they want to come to perform at their school for the semester or for the year. And we would go do those conventions and get booked at colleges. So that was really where I got my start working doing colleges.
Same thing, bro. That college money,
man,
it hit a little late. It take
30 days. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, 30 to 60 sometimes. Yeah. It takes 60 days sometimes.
But they gonna pay you.
But it's the same money no matter how many people show up, no matter who there. No matter what happened, you still get it. Yeah,
that's how I started hosting events at colleges. Man, I used to go all up and down the East Coast, man.
Yeah,
in 30 days.
And you never did a NACA convention?
No.
Oh man, you came up on a NACA convention.
It was more so through the relationship of how people try to talk down on fraternities, but that was through the relationship of my fraternity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it was like I I was, first of all, I'm good. You get what I'm saying? So I was able to go to different schools. And then from there, I was like, man, this is what I do. Oh, man, we got a step show. You want to host it?
Yeah.
So I did my first
That's what
step
I started doing, too, hosting step shows and stuff on campus for the fraternity, hosting our alpha pageants and all of that. So that's where I got my kicked off, too, for sure. Yeah.
I never did a NACA. I really thought that was an HBCU thing. I think I've seen, like, Bowie. I've seen, like, Morgan and 10X. They send, like, their court or something, right? It's like
not the court. No. You talking about just you talking about the something different. That's the HBCU where they go and they, pick the kings and queens from all the HBCUs.
Oh, yeah,
that's a different thing. But this is where they go pick entertain. So you being a host, a MC, you would be able to showcase. And you would be able to go up and showcase what it would be like for you to host a step show. And all of these students will come and watch your showcase. And then after the showcase, they
say, hey, we want him
to
come.
They come back and you got a booth set up and they come to your booth and then they book you. And one of the things that they have is called block booking. And what block booking is let's say you had your price set at, $1,500 a show, right? But you got, like in North Carolina, you got 11 HBCUs. Within a 2-hour radius, you got Winston-Salem State, North Carolina A&T, Johnson C. Smith, Livingstone, Central, all these schools, right? They'll come and block book you. They'll say, okay, well, instead of paying you $1,500 a show, we gonna book you at $750 7 times.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So you give them a discount, but you get 7 shows bookings in a week. So you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, you didn't. It's still going on right now.
Really?
Right now. NACA, man. If you still want to host and still, then you in a position to be able to do it. You got the platform. Go to a NACA, man. You'll be able to get you a good little bag out of there.
Say no more. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
Ain't nobody that was gonna give me that.
Oh
game
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
Go to NACA, man. Especially if you good at it.
Yeah.
And then you got that connection with the fraternity and you understand the culture and you actually went to college.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you don't get angry going and dealing with students. A lot of you had to go to kind of understand. A lot of dudes don't like to do colleges. Me, I'd never stop because the culture is always the same, especially at HBCU, but across the board. So yeah, do a NACA, man. Look into getting into a NACA, and you can just do the one in your area and watch. You'll be in the game.
So then you go to God Court MTV.
I mean, no, Wild 'N Out was first.
Wild 'N Out first.
Wild 'N Out was the first thing I did on television. You know what I'm saying? And that was the thing that launched me into doing everything else was Wild 'N Out. Wild 'N Out was a springboard.
What was that experience like? Did you know that it was going to take you to wherever it took you now?
No, I would be lying to you if I said I knew, but I knew that it was what I wanted to do. Okay. I knew that it was something that was an opportunity, a great opportunity, and I knew I was going to make the best of it. But to say that I knew it would turn into everything that it's turned into would be a lie. No, I had no idea. I'm thankful for it, but I had no idea.
What were some like the trials and tribulations that you had to deal with behind the scenes that like nobody knows about, especially within this industry?
Oh man,
doing it by yourself.
So many, man. Like I got on TV in 2013. I ain't started making money until like 2017. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I always explain it like being in the red and being in the black, right? So the reason why they call Black Friday is usually because throughout the year most of these companies are in the red. And then on Black Friday, they could go into the black because people spend so much money on this day. Yeah. So it kind of takes them out of the red. Yeah. So I would say from 2013 to 2017, I was in the red. And that's just catching up on everything that I owed from grinding and trying to get to it and making sure that I paid off everything and, stopped getting them what do they call them, extensions on the student loan payments and, catching up on all of the different bills that I owed and making sure everything was straight and getting my credit together and all of that. It took me from 2013 to 2017 to even get to the point where I can say, okay, I've taken care of everything I'm supposed to take care of. Now I can start getting into things that I want to do. So that was a grind. And I tell people all the time, ain't no such thing as, it take you 10 years to be an overnight success.
Man, you kind of speaking to me right now because it frustrates me a little bit being in a space that people see me with a Chico being and they think, oh, he made it. Like, nah, I still need a little bit of help too myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of get over that because as soon as you post a picture or as soon as they see you do something positive within your space, they automatically think it turns to revenue, but it's a time thing. It's a time frame thing. It's building your portfolio.
Yeah, you got to work
to the point to you can get the money.
You get the money. The money is gonna come eventually, but you got to be able to work through the parts that is, every opportunity don't come with money. And that's where a lot of people fail. They think that opportunity is supposed to come with a check. Some opportunity don't come with nothing but opportunity, but you got to be able to take that opportunity and turn it into a check. And that's the best part of opportunity. And you learn that. I learned that from having the type of mentality. I grew up hustling. Like, that's always been my thing. I've always been a dude that was into getting some money, and I always knew how. But when I decided to be a comedian and stay in North Carolina, I negated all of that instinctive nature that I had to go get into whatever I can get into to get money, to stay down there and make it work. And that was the first thing I ever dedicated myself to. I had to learn how to be broke and functioning, just to learn how to manage money the right way, because I had no real money management skills, because it was always in and out, you know what I'm saying? Up and down, in and out, but I know I can go get some more. This was just a process that I had to take on, but it was so many opportunities that didn't come with any money, and it took me to learn how to invest in myself through opportunity to get to a point where I was starting to make actual money. And then once it started, then it's, it's up to you or how you make it work, but once it started, then it started, and then you can really get to it.
Being where you are now, has your definition of success changed?
No, my definition of success has always been the same, and at least in my eyes, because I look at it differently. A lot of the things that people think are supposed to come with this, I experienced growing up in the city. I was always popular. I've never been somebody that more people didn't know than I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always been my reality. So success for me, it was based around a different type of, scope. Like, I'll say, I just went to my father's gravesite. Like, the first time I went to his gravesite, I was 21 years old. He got murdered when I was a baby.
Yeah, too.
You know what I'm saying? And no, actually younger than that. And it's crazy that I found that out after my mom passed away. But that's, we should have started there at the beginning. But anyway, when I went to his gravesite, he didn't have a headstone on his gravesite. And I was like, man, I can't be no patch of grass. I gotta do something to let the world know I exist.
Yeah.
Like, and to let the world know he existed because I exist. Like, so that's success for me. Like, I done beat the game so many times when it comes to what it looks like to win. Like, everything I'm in extra man mode now. All this stuff is extra. I came out of the city from, like you said, from nothing, and really grew up in it and was outside. You can't tell, you ain't gonna meet nobody that's gonna say there ain't no bean in none of my environments that I come from, wherever it was at. Ask anybody who was around me, yeah, I know that dude. I remember him for whatever they remember me for, but they know me because I was a part of it. So success to me is beating that. You know what I'm saying? Making it to be a father, making it to be a person that can be dependable, making my word mean what it means to the people that care about me and respect me in business, and making my name stand up for what it stands up for. That's success to me. The money is, just a safety net. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, when you broke and you fall down, you scrape your knee, bust your head open, and then you got to sit down for 3 days and figure it out and heal. When you got that money, it's a safety net. So when you can just bounce back up, but it doesn't stop you from falling. It just stops you from hitting the ground.
I know you got it here. I got 2 or 3 more questions.
All right, go ahead. Do your thing, man.
You spoke about the gravesite, and this is a question I ask everybody who sits here.
Okay.
You got a day you were born, whatever day that is, whatever year that is. You got a day you're going to leave. That's one thing that everybody has. Those days that you're born.
That dash in the middle.
Man.
That's on you.
That's all you have.
That's on you.
That's all you have.
I say it all the time.
How do you want to be remembered?
How do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered, like I said, that picture over the fireplace. That's what it's about for me. For when I'm long gone, people will be able to look and say, because of him, we're able to do this. Because he laid this foundation and this blueprint, we're able to do this. Like I said, I went and looked at a patch of grass, and I was the only living representation of what this man left on this planet. So that's all he left me was that. No disrespect to him, because that's just the way the cards were dealt for him. So I felt like every day that I get, as long as those aren't my cards until my day come, then my job is to make sure that we elevate beyond this. And I done did that, tenfold, but it's continuing. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing for whatever your goals and aspirations are. You should never live for anybody else's goals and aspirations and what they think you should do. But for me, it's always been, man, that picture over the fireplace, to make sure that people know, and not just for me and my family, but for people that come from where I come from. I want to be an example for everybody, that, especially from the city of D.C., to look at and be like, Slim, if he can go and do all the stuff that he's doing and has done, then it's possible for me, because this dude is no different. I come from exactly what you come from.
I
come from
that.
exactly where you come from. I've been through the same things, the same environment. I went to college. I know all of it's possible to still be exactly who you supposed to be and make the way you supposed to make, doing it your way. So that's the example I want to be.
I really appreciate that, because, again, like I said, it's not really many people from D.C. in this space that really come from D.C. Like, they live like nearby.
Yeah,
grandmother would live. And so you speaking from a place like that, like it lets me know that I'm on the right path to be.
Yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You 30 years old, man. You on your way. You already in here. You doing it. You got your own setup. I seen you setting up the camera. I seen you setting up the lights yourself. That's what we all got to do. But trust me, young brother, you getting there and you doing it the right way. And I'm an energy person, man. I always been that way. I always engage energy. Like when they just asked me, hey man, Fats, the dude named Fats want to do an interview with you, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna see. And she was like, oh, I think he from around your way. I bet, let's do it.
Man, I didn't even know she said that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, let's do it. He from the let's do it. I got to do it. I got to sit down with him just to be able to let you know that, man, it's an affinity, man. If you from where I'm from, and I do this for everybody, but especially people from my city, Slim. I'm DC. I want to see us win. I don't care nothing about none of the politics that's going on. I done been through all that. I lived that. I did all of that and was able to come through it. Like, I got dudes that didn't like me that see me now and be like, man, we proud of you, Slim, because regardless of what we felt back then, I know you come from where we come from. I remember you being in them same places we was in. Yeah. So for me, going around the world, I've been around the world. Like, I want that to be the shining example for people that come from where, and if you're doing something positive from where I'm from, Slim, I want to see you win. No, I want to see you win. So that's why I came and sat down with you, Slim.
Appreciate that. Now, we got real deep.
Yeah, all the way.
And you're a comedian, so I had two comedic questions that I have for you, all right? If you could roast 3 people at a cookout, alive or dead, who would it be and who would be on the grill?
If I can roast 3 people at a cookout, who would it be? Man, that's a good question. Who would I roast at the cookout?
And then who would be on the grill?
Who would be on the grill? I don't know, man. I would probably roast Judas, bitch ass. He snitched on Jesus. Who else, man? You said alive too?
Yeah, dead or alive.
Oh, okay. All right, so Judas dead. I roast Judas, bitch ass. He snitched on Jesus. I cook Elon Musk. And then Anthony Williams, the old mayor of DC.
Okay.
Sucker ass nigga, man.
And who on the grill?
Who on the grill? Nigga, you, where you built. Nigga, you on the grill.
I'm a Q, so you already know.
I know you. Yeah, I already know. Yeah, you gonna be on the grill, Slim. That's what it is.
Last question. You walk into a club and DJ plays Chico Bean's theme song. What is playing right now?
The Glow by Willie Hutch.
I don't know that one.
You don't know The Glow by Willie Hutch? You ain't never seen The Last Dragon? The movie The Last Dragon? All right, do me a solid and watch The Last Dragon. But The Glow by Willie Hutch. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to watch it. I ain't even going. I'm put you on the one right there. That's my favorite movie of all time is The Last Dragon. But The Glow by Willie Hutch is pretty much describes exactly what I try to personify every day when I walk out the door and when I'm in the house and looking in the mirror. It's the glow. You know what I'm saying? It's basically saying you got everything you need within you to be everything that you want to be and more. You just got to find it. And once you find it, start glowing, Slim.
My God, appreciate you sitting down with me,
man.
Having this conversation.
Way, man.
Where can they follow you at?
Oh, man, at Chico Bean on Instagram and Facebook. And, you know, me and my daughter run my TikTok. It's called Fat Made Me Do It, PhatMadeMeDoit. Fat Made Me Do It. But I don't be on there. She run it. But, you know, I got stuff on there because I trust my baby. But, you know what I mean? Follow me all the way and make sure you keep supporting this brother right here, Slim. What's your Instagram?
At Hustle Man Fast. Appreciate y'all. Kid Hustle Man Fast. We out of here.
Hustle Man Fast.